So here's my story, one of my stories about the necessity for emotional resilience. In one of my roles, I was brought in to basically create a department that had only existed for about 2 years in name only. And when I arrived and I started looking at all of the layers of work that needed to happen to make this a legitimate, high functioning area of my organization, it was a little overwhelming, but I was really bought in. And I loved my team and I loved the people that we were serving, and I was all in. I was all in, willing to work the crazy amount of hours. Yes, lacking in a little bit of boundaries. Definitely had some room to grow in that area back then. Here's where it gets interesting. I was only there for 2 years. And within that 2 years, we were reorganized 2 times into 2 different divisions within our organization. So for any of you out there who have been through this, you understand that when you are relocated from one division to another, that chain of command changes. The purpose that that division is working toward, their mission, their annual goals that you need to now fit under, reshape the work that you do and your goals and what's going to be important for you to accomplish. And if you're not careful, it can really feel like the work you're doing doesn't have as much value as you thought it did. Because when your organization is shifting you, it's like, okay, who are we now? Belonging to this new area with a very different charge than the division that we were in previously. And you can imagine the first time that was a bit of like a jolt, but we regrouped and refocused and kept the priority of what were we supposed to be accomplishing within the department. And then how could we fit into the new structure without losing the meaning of why we did what we did, and without dropping any of the quality that we had achieved. So that was reorg number 1. Reorg number 2 just really hit us hard. And we weren't being moved around because of anything that we were doing or any kind of failure to achieve, because we were achieving great things and we had grown so rapidly, but we were being moved like a chess piece on a board. It was more driven by organizational politics above me and way outside of my department. And that was very apparent to the team that I was leading. And it definitely hurt their morale because it felt like the organization did not understand what we did or how important it was to the mission of the organization. And I had to be the one that was stable, that was calm, that was solution oriented, that was holding strong to that position of having a growth mindset, that kept my why front and center, so that our purpose, our vision, our mission for our department and the work that we were doing on a daily basis didn't get lost. And for me, wow, was that hard. But I knew that in order to do right by my team and not let us slip from the place that we had tried to work so hard to get to, and that we had accomplished so many great things. And I had a team that was full of talent and promise and potential that we were realizing and learning constantly and growing and evolving. And as a unit, I couldn't have been prouder of them or the work that we were doing together. It was beyond my expectations, and I have high expectations for myself and for them. And it was everything that I could do to keep myself in a good headspace so that I could be there to keep them on track, moving forward. So we could continue on in a way that was motivational to them, that was inspiring to them, that they could still feel the joy of what we were accomplishing together. And there's another bigger, much sadder story in there, in that same time frame, in that same role for me. The reorgs that I had to guide us through. In the end, was not the biggest disruption that we faced. One of my team members passed away suddenly, unexpectedly, and she was like the heart of our team, and we all loved her so much. And amidst the chaos of the time of year and the big processes that we were moving through, and then the reorgs, and then financial concerns within the organization, everything was just hitting at once. But that, losing her, that was the moment when I had to be emotionally resilient in ways I didn't even know I was capable of. But when I looked at their faces, when I understood what was happening, when I allowed myself to really take in the enormous impact of what it was going to have on my team, the loss of her, they were the first thing I thought of. It was my instinct to try in every way I could to advocate for them and their well-being and their protection from unnecessary questioning or information gathering that I knew I could provide to whoever was asking at the time. And there were many people that wanted to show up and ask questions. And it was everything I could do to practice all of the strategies that we have talked about to keep myself together, to patch myself together, to still grieve, 100% to grieve. But instead of isolating myself, I knew I needed to grieve in community with them. And I honestly believe that it was the strength of our team and our identity as a department and the purpose that drove us all, our shared purpose, our love for each other, our respect for each other. That is what kept us together, because our connection to each other as a team was so solid that it just further solidified around the loss of her. And I was never so thankful in my life that I was able to keep my presence of mind, that I was able as a leader to take care of myself and to take care of my team. It's so funny because about 9 months later, I was sitting around my dining room table. We were having a dinner that was totally a rare first-time event for us, but circumstances had changed. Many of us had left the organization, and we were all kind of reconvening at my place for one last dinner before many of us went our separate ways and left the city. And it was a beautiful kind of goodbye and good closure. But in that moment when we were sitting at the table and we were talking about everything that had happened, I had been feeling like I had let this one person down, specifically because the day that my staff member passed away was also the first day of work, the first day that this other staff member was joining my department. And I had carried this sense of guilt that I didn't create the best onboarding situation for her. Because what a way to start, right? I didn't have emotional capacity to welcome her with a smile, to get her adjusted to her new office setup, to do all the things that I normally would have done because the world was on fire. So I felt like she had got the short end of the stick. And I honestly didn't know how she felt about her transition onto the team. I knew afterwards, right, that we had connected and that we had a good rapport and things were good. And obviously it was good enough that she showed up to this dinner, right? However, when I made my attempt to acknowledge what her start was like and to apologize, she was gracious enough to stop me and tell me that what her takeaway was on her first day of work in this new place, watching all this happen, was that I was a leader who advocated for my team, who put them first, put their well-being first. So it just goes to show our perceptions of things might sometimes be a little off because of the stories we tell ourselves. She didn't see it the same way I saw it. I think it genuinely had the opposite impact for her as what I feared it did. So I'm super thankful that she could see me and appreciate everything I was trying to do in that moment. When you hold the responsibility of being a leader, you are going to have some tough moments. And you may not be reorganized twice within 2 years, and you may not have someone die that you care about very much who is an irreplaceable member of your team. You may not experience those things, but you will experience hardships. And when those moments come, you need to be strong. But being strong means that you have the instincts kick in to take care of yourself, to work the steps, to use the strategies, to use the tools, to dig in. Whether you remember everything that I talked about here today, or you're just like, you know what, I think that she said something about this in some video that she made, please come back. Come back, watch this again when you need it, because there are moments that will come and you'll need support. And I hope to God that you feel that you are supported here, that you can find some common ground here, that there is validation here for you and the things that you are going through. We all need leaders and mentors and friends and chosen family to have our back when things go down. That day when my staff member died, I did not cry until I got home. And then I called my mother and I sobbed. I don't even know that I said much. I think I might have just told her what happened in a very broken kind of way and then just cried while she was on the phone, because she was my support system after I was done supporting everybody else. So find your people that are going to have your back when things get tough, because you need to be able to show up for your people who rely on you, who look to you. Her name was Catalina. She was my mentee. She was like a little sister. She was a friend. She was family. And she was the one who would definitely call me on it when I was avoiding things. She made me better. I believe she made everyone better that she came in contact with.